Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a good day today. Today we're multiplying positive and negative decimals, but before we get into it, I just wanted to let you know that I was told today that I have a couple gray hairs coming out of the side of my head. And you know what? I'm doing okay too. Thanks for asking. Let's get into the video. The very first thing I always tell my students is let's determine what the sign is going to be for our final answer right off the bat. And knowing our multiplying and dividing rules, if they have the same sign or both numbers are both positive or both negative, hence the same sign, we're going to get a positive solution. But if they have different signs where maybe one's positive and the other's negative, well, we're always going to get a negative solution. So if we look at number one, 4 and 9/10 is positive and 3 and 6/10 is negative. So those are different signs. So I know already my final answer is going to be negative before I even start. So I always have them determine that first. So I'm just going to put equals some negative value until we figure that out. Then after that, I always have them count how many numbers are behind each decimal point, because I feel like when students put the decimal point in their multiplying problem, they tend to make a ton of mistakes, and I don't want them to do that. So I have a nice little trick for you. You know, it's very, very useful, and it's helped a lot of my students in the past and today. So 4.9 has one number behind the decimal point, and 3.6 has one number behind the decimal point as well. So there's two numbers in total that are behind the decimal points. And all I'm going to do is put this number to the side in parentheses. And then all I'm going to do is rewrite the problem, not including the decimal points anymore. So we have 49 times negative 36. And all we're going to do now is multiply like normal. 49 times 36, don't worry about writing the negative sign when you're multiplying, because you know the final answer is going to be negative regardless at the very end. So I'm going to write the larger number first, 49 times 36, and we're just going to multiply like normal. 6 times 9 is 54, carry our 5. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 5 gives us 29. When we move down to the next line, let's add a 0 first, and I'm just going to scratch out this 5, that way I don't accidentally use it again. 3 times 9 is 27, so carry the 2, and 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 gives us 14, and now we can go ahead and add these together. So 4 plus 0 is 4, 9 plus 7 is 16, carry the 1, 4 plus 2 plus 1 gives us 7, and then finally 1 plus nothing gives us 1. Now our final answer is not going to be 1,764. You just want to remember, well, what number do we write in parentheses at the very beginning, or how many digits were behind each decimal point? In this case, there was 2, which means at our very end, we want to make sure that there's 2 numbers behind the decimal point. So instead of it being 1,764, we want to put a decimal point between the 7 and the 6 to make sure that there's 2 numbers behind the decimal point. So our final answer is going to be negative 17.64 for the first one. And we're just going to write that up here, 17.64. And now we can go ahead and go to number 2. So I'm going to get rid of all this work here because I'm going to use all the space I can possibly get. And now let's go ahead and take a look at number 2. We have negative 8 and 72 hundredths times 11 and 3/10. I notice once again that they are different signs, so we're going to get a negative solution at the very end. So let's go ahead and put equals some negative value. And now let's go ahead and count how many numbers are behind each decimal point. In the first one we have 2, and the other one we have 1. So there's a total of 3 digits behind the decimal points. And now I'm going to rewrite the problem without any decimal points at all. So we have negative 872 times 113. And again, don't worry about the 800 being negative, because you know the final answer is going to be negative at the very end regardless. Go ahead and write our larger one first. So we have 872 times 113. And now once again, let's multiply like normal. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21, carry your 2. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 2 gives us 26. And then let's scribble that out so we don't use it again. We'll add a 0 and we go down to the second line. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 8 is 8. And then finally, when we move down to the final line, we're going to add 2 zeros. I'm going to cram this in here and then add separately. So 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 8 is 8, and then I'm just going to add all these to the side here. So 6 plus 0 plus 0 is going to give us 6. 1 plus 2 plus 0 is going to give us 3. 6 plus 7 plus 2 is going to give us 15, and then we're going to carry our 1. 1 plus 2 plus 8 plus 7 is going to give us 18. So put an 8 there, carry a 1. 1 plus 8 is going to give us 9. And then we had a 3 in parentheses, which means we're going to have 3 numbers behind our decimal point in our final answer. So we want to make sure that it goes in front of the 5, and then we want to make sure that our final answer is negative. So we're going to get negative 98 and 536 thousandths for number 2. So that trick is very nice. I've seen students put decimal points in the problem before, and they end up placing it in the wrong spot. So I think this alleviates that issue entirely, which is very, very nice. So we have negative 9. I don't think I'm going to fit in that little space there, but I'm going to try to cram it in there anyway. So 98.536, and then let's erase that and go ahead and jump over to number 3. So let's get rid of all this. And now number 3, we have 14 and 2/10 times a whole number of 18. Well, sometimes students get confused. The one's a decimal and the other one isn't. Well, still do the same thing. Let's determine the signs. They're both positive, so they have the same sign, which means our final answer or solution is going to be positive this time around. Now let's go ahead and count, well, how many numbers are behind our decimal points? In this case, there's only one decimal point, so we're going to put a 1 in parentheses because there's only one digit behind the decimal. And now let's go ahead and multiply. So this is going to be 142 when we ignore the decimal point times 18. So we have 142 times 18. 8 times 2 is 16, carrier 1. 8 times 4 is 32 plus 1 is 33, carrier 3. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 3 gives us 11. We move down to the next line, add a 0, and then I'm just going to scribble these out once again. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, and now I'll just add it to the side like we did in the last one. So 6 plus 0 is 6, 3 plus 2 is 5, 1 plus 4 is 5, 1 plus 1 is 2, and the decimal point is going to have one number behind it, so we get 255 and 6/10 for number 3. Let's go ahead and jot that down over here, 255 and 6/10 for the third one, and then we have 2 more before you go ahead and try out 5 questions on your own. For number 4, I noticed they are same signs, they're both negative, which means our final answer is going to be positive. And now let's go ahead and count, well, how many numbers are behind our decimal point. In this case, there's only one decimal point again, and there's 3 numbers behind it, so we're going to put parentheses 3, and now we're going to rewrite it without the decimal point at all. So we have negative 13 times negative 2,681. And now we can go ahead and multiply once again. So we'll write our larger one first. We have 2,681. We'll just jot that over here. Times 13. 3 times 1 is going to give us 3. 3 times 8 is 24. Carrier 2. 3 times 6 is 18 plus 2 gives us 20. Carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 gives us 8. When we move down to the next line, add a 0 once again, and then just ignore these. 1 times 1 is going to give us 1. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 6 is 6. And 1 times 2 is 2. And then we can add these. I think I can cram this down at the very bottom here. So 3 plus 0 is 3. 4 plus 1 is 5. 0 plus 8 is 8. 8 plus 6 is 14. Carrier 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then there's 3 numbers behind the decimal point. So that's going to go in front of the 8. And we end up getting a positive 34 and 853 thousandths for number 4 for a final answer. And it's positive, same signs, positive solution. And then we got one more. I'll just leave that answer there. And then for number 5, we have different signs. We're going to get a negative result. And there's 4 numbers behind the decimal point. So I'm just going to put that again on the side here, and then rewrite it without the decimal points. So we have negative 15,493 times 2. You don't have to worry about putting 0, 2. 0, 2 is really just 2 at the end of the day. And now we can go ahead and multiply these once again. We'll just do it up top here this time. So 15,493 times 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 gives us 9. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 1 plus 1 gives us a 3. We get 30,986, but we want to make sure that there's 4 numbers behind the decimal point. It was different signs, so it needs to be a negative solution. So we get negative 3, and then we get 0.0986. So hopefully these 5 helped you out in multiplying decimals, but I do have 5 questions I want you to try out on your own in the practice session, so let's go ahead and take a look at them. All right, moment of truth. It's the practice session. I want you to grab a sheet of paper, notebook, something, and try out these 5 questions on your own. And when you have all 5 answers, play the video and see if you got them all right. So pause the video, try them out, and we'll see you in a second here. I'm assuming at this point you've tried out all 5 questions and you're ready to go over the answers, so let's go ahead and jump into number 1. I noticed that these 2 numbers are both negative, so they have the same signs, which means our final answer is going to be positive. I then want to count, well, how many digits are behind the decimal points? In this case, there's 2 in total, so I'm going to put that in parentheses on the side, and then I'm going to rewrite everything without the decimal points. So we have negative 77 times negative 2. And again, don't need to worry about that 0 going in front of the 2. And now let's go ahead and multiply these. So we have 77 times 2. 2 times 7 is 14, carry the 1. 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1 gives us 15. And then we have 2 numbers that are going to be behind the decimal point. So our final answer is going to be 1 and 54 hundredths for the first one. Again, it was same signs, so positive result. So hopefully you're 1 for 1, and now let's go ahead and take a look at number 2. We have different signs, so our final answer is going to be negative here, and we have 3 digits behind the decimal points. And then let's go ahead and rewrite these without the decimal points. So we have negative 234 times 197. We're going to go ahead and write our larger number first here, so let's do 234 times 197, and now we can go ahead and multiply everything. So 7 times 4 is 28, carry the 2. 7 times 3 is 21 plus 2 gives us 23, carry the 2. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 2 gives us 16. And now let's go ahead and scribble these out so we don't use them again here. And now our next line, we're going to add a 0, and then we keep going. 9 times 4 is 36, so 6, carry the 3. 9 times 3 is 27 plus 3 gives us 30, carry the 3. 9 times 2 is 18 plus 3 gives us 21. And then on our final line, we're going to add 2 zeros, and then let's get rid of these, and then we can just focus on 1 times 4, which is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. And now we can finally go ahead and add everything. So 8 plus nothing is 8. 3 plus 6 gives us 9. 6 plus 4 is 10, carry the 1. 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 gives us 6. And 2 plus 2 gives us 4. And then there's 3 numbers behind the decimal point. So we are going to get 46 and 98 thousandths. We just want to make sure it's negative because it was different signs. So negative solution for number 2. And now we can go ahead and take a look at number 3. Number 3 is different signs once again, so negative answer, and there's only 1 number behind the decimal point for number 3 because 22 isn't even a decimal at all. And now we can go ahead and rewrite this without the decimal point. So 191 times negative 22. We already know the final answer is going to be negative, and then we can go ahead and multiply right away again. So we have 191 times 22. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 9 is 18, carry the 1. 2 times 1 plus 1 is 3. On the next line, we add a 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 9 is 18, carry the 1. We don't want to get it confused with that one. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Then we can go ahead and add these. 2 plus 0 is 2. 8 plus 2 is 10, carry the 1. We get 12, carry the 1, 4. And we end up getting 4,202, but there should be 1 number behind the decimal point. So we want to put our decimal point right here, and we want to make sure that our final answer is negative. And now we can make our way to number 4. So hopefully you are 3 for 3 right now going into the final 2. So we have same signs, positive solution. There are 3 numbers behind the decimal point. So let's go ahead and put that to the side here and then rewrite it without the decimal point. So 13 times 5,738. and then we can go ahead and multiply these. So 5,738 times 13. 3 times 8 is 24, carry the 2. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11, carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22, carry the 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. On the next line, add a 0. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 5 is 5. And then we can go ahead and add these. So 4 plus 0 is 4. 1 plus 8 is 9. 2 plus 3 is 5. 7 and 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 5 and 2 ones is 7. And then we have 3 numbers behind the decimal point. So we're going to get 74 and 594 thousandths. And it's positive for number 4 because it was same signs. And now we are headed into the last one. So different signs, negative solution at the very end. 3 numbers behind the decimal points in total, and then let's rewrite it without the decimal point at all. So 1,473 times negative 102, and now we can go ahead and multiply these. So we have 1,473 times 102. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 7 is 14, carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 2 times 1 is 2. On the next line, add a 0. 0 times 3 is 0. 0 times 7, 0. 0 times 4, 0. And finally, 0 times 1, 0. And then on the last line, 2 zeros first. Then 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 4 is 4. And 1 times 1 is 1. And then we'll add it on the side here. So 6 plus nothing is 6. 4 plus nothing is 4. 9 plus 3 is 12, so put a 2, and then we carried that 1 already. 7 plus 2 plus 1 gives us 10, carry the 1. 4 plus 1 is 5, and 1 plus nothing is 1. And then there's 3 numbers behind the decimal point, and then we want to make sure that it's negative. So negative 150 and 246 thousandths. Hopefully you went 5 for 5 in the practice session. If you did, leave a like on the video letting me know that this helped you out in multiplying positive and negative decimals. Comment any other topics you want to see, and subscribe. Turn on that bell for post notifications, and we'll see you in the next one with some more mathematics. Thank you for taking the time to watch.